Good morning, happy Thursday. And hey now. I hope you enjoyed Mozart yesterday, the revisiting Mozart. Today we're going to kind of explore more kind of higher concepts about Mozart's music, because now that we got his life, and he only lived till 35, born in 1756 in Austria, and then dies in Austria in 1791. Wrote all that music, 35 years old. And looking back at yesterday's class, I could tell that I'm sorry I let some of my feelings get in the way, because I could tell that I'm very emotional when it comes to Mozart, as you guys should be too when you hear some of that music. It's music that gets you to, when you hear certain things, you almost stop in your tracks and then you move on with your day, because it takes a hold of you. I've talked about terms, and I've talked about why Mozart is, why do people love him, because it's pleasant sounding, right? And we've talked about words like consonant and dissonant music. So those are just really basic terms, pleasant sounding, not pleasant sounding music. We looked at Schoenberg and his whole, hundreds of years later, his whole thing was to make a system of atonality, right? Of atonal music without a tonal center. So his music doesn't sound like Mozart, right? Mozart and Bach previously, their idea was to get, and so my question to you is, what makes it consonant? What makes something pleasant sounding? How do we know these terms? If you didn't know consonant, the definition of 2 minutes ago, you would know that Mozart is pleasant sounding. It's not challenging, disturbing notes, music. But why is that? One little thing we'll talk about is the Mozart effect, which came out in the 1991. Some people there's various things about whether that was a real effect, whether that actually does make you smarter. It's a theory that listening to Mozart makes kids smarter, makes babies smarter. It seemed like a popular fad in the 90s, because you could buy CDs and, for your child, a little kit. It became kind of a kit that some scientists and doctors thought that, and rightly so. It's hard to say, because it's not really. It's hard to prove. Science can be proven, tried to be, but art it's hard to measure that, and intelligence it's hard to measure too, because IQ and tests like that. Some people don't do well on SAT scores or standardized tests. It's hard to measure that. That's what I'm saying. But they thought with Mozart that listening to Mozart could make you smarter, or that could make your child smarter. And mentally develop, So that was the theory in the 90s, and until about 2010, there was another analysis that not just Mozart, but other kinds of music could also do the same positive effects on your mental development, our mental development. So, other studies found that Schubert, we did a whole class on Schubert, was just as effective. It's enjoyment, right? We get an enjoyment, we get dopamine levels in our brain, or we get some sort of pleasure from listening to something that makes us feel good, and that's maybe pleasant music. But this is subjective, because there's people that like heavy metal, rightly so. I mean, it's just a taste. And that gives them calmness and pleasure many times too. So it doesn't have to be necessarily light, sweet, pleasant sounding music. It's taste, right? It's whatever makes you feel good. So I'm backing up here with the Mozart effect. It's that Mozart makes you smarter. So to back up from that, that just other kinds of music and other kinds of art can make us smarter and feel better. And smarter meaning what? Do you get more answers on the tests? Hard to say. These are gray areas because you could listen to Mozart all day, but that doesn't mean you're going to pass the math test tomorrow if you don't study the math. I mean, so, and this is the gray area of art. This is it could cure depression for sure. I know I feel better after hearing, whether it's Mozart or Louis. It makes me smile. It makes me happy hearing some of these things. And I know with your music that you like, it makes you happy. So that is, but of course nobody would doubt that music, learning music, listening to music appreciation, what we do, critical thinking about music improves our well-being, right? Our development and our ability to think, our imagination. That's what I really hope you guys to get from some of these classes is, like I've stressed, individual freedom, imagination, freedom of thought, all those things. And I just have to sort of use music because that's what we're talking about here. And so Mozart, to me, is a good starting point to what sounds like perfect music. And then what sounds, not pleasant. And we all have our own tastes, like I said, about what is calming. Now, so there's a big difference between taste and saying, well, this is right and this is not right. And that's when it gets really tricky, because when we say that this is the best, then somebody else says, well, that's not the best, that's the worst, this is the best. And then we go on and on and on. And I had a horrible night's sleep last night because I could not stop thinking about why is it that we like certain things, certain types of music? What is it? Did somebody tell us that we should like it as a kid? Did somebody say, sorry about the motorcycle, I live in the city. Did somebody say when we were young, hey, listen to this, you'll really like this? And did we fall in love with that and say, yes, we liked it because the person that gave it to us, we liked them? I know a lot of stuff I like because of music. My dad, my uncle, my mom, my family, close friends said, listen to this, and I loved it. I'd like to think that I really liked it, but I also loved them sharing it with me. So did that make me like it more? And I'm curious if you guys right now think of one of your favorite albums, one of your favorite songs. What is it that you like about that? In the sense of, have you ever questioned? I want you to question why. Is it because of a memory that somebody played it for you? Is it because somebody you idolized, whether it's a celebrity saying this is the best? And so we sort of say, yeah, well that's I like this person, and so that's why this is the best. And so do we conform? This leads to conformity too, which is good sometimes. I mean, we need order, but with art and ideas like this, we can't conform too much. Just because somebody we idolize says this is great, we can't just think this is great. We have to think for ourselves. We have to really like it for ourselves. And this just comes down to individual taste. I could argue all day that you should love Mozart, and if you don't love Mozart, that's fine. I'm trying to get you to think critically about your own tastes, and I just have to use Mozart because this is a music class, and I know that this is sounding philosophical and hopefully not too confusing. I'm just trying to present ideas to you that that I want you to think about, and I want us to think about why do we, and these are questions that we'll never answer, why do we like certain pieces of music? And scientists could say, well, these notes that resolve in this manner make our brain feel happy. And how has that been going on for hundreds of years? Will we ever at some point listen to Schoenberg and say that makes us happy, and forget, well, 500 years later, will we say Mozart is very hard to listen to and Schoenberg is now, this is going to be Schoenberg for babies? Will we ever get to that? I don't think dissonant music, and I'm not devaluing Schoenberg, and I'm not really saying it's all dissonant. I don't think that kind of music will ever take over our psyche where that's what we want to hear. But why? I don't know. These are going to be many discussions that we're going to get into deeper with composers, using composers as a launching pad. So a lot of ideas here, probably too many, but I'm just want to feed your brain, your imagination, all these things that we'll figure out together. We're excavating. We're like archaeologists, right? Just kind of, it's always good to ask a lot of questions and to think about those questions. And sometimes not having the answers are can be more interesting for discussion. So I wish we were in a classroom so I could hear your thoughts. But you ever want to? I'm always here for questions or whatever. I like talking about this. So thanks for listening to the advanced Mozart class. Mozart, but it was beyond Mozart. It was just about, we went off in a lot of directions, and that won't be the last of it. We're going to be talking about, we're going to be addressing these questions a lot this year, because I want us to kick it up to the next level here. Okay, tomorrow, hey, film scoring results for Jules and Jim. So, we're going to kick it cool, and hope you enjoyed this. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.